Have you ever cried during a film?
Yes, of course I have, yeah.
Like
It's a very sensitive side that you're bringing out.
Jason Statham is one of Hollywood's toughest stars. He is the man who does his...
Jason Statham doesn't talk much off camera. But when he does, the world listens. And recently, he said something that sent shockwaves through Hollywood. He named 6 actors he genuinely cannot stand working with. Not mild dislikes, not professional differences. Real, deep, burning frustrations. And every single name on that list comes with a story that the tabloids barely dared touch. So let's get into it, because this is Jason Statham like you've never seen him before. It starts with Vin Diesel. For years, fans assumed the tension between these two was just brilliant acting. It wasn't. The real friction began on the set of Hobbs and Shaw, where Statham's iron discipline met Diesel's iron grip on everything around him. While Statham and The Rock built genuine chemistry on the press tour, Diesel often appeared withdrawn, distant, and difficult. And eventually, Statham had enough. Working with him felt like babysitting a teenager in a bodybuilder's body, he said. Always demanding, always rewriting scenes to make himself look bigger. It wears you down. Insiders backed every word of it. Diesel repeatedly pushed for changes that boosted his character's power, even when it threw the entire story off balance. What started as a clash of work ethics turned deeply personal. Statham refused to play ego games. Diesel reportedly saw him as a rival, capable of stealing the spotlight from a franchise built entirely around the Toretto myth. Their tension eventually cooled once Hobbs and Shaw gave both men their own space, but the distance never fully disappeared. By 2025, things stay professional on the surface, but privately, these two men exist in completely separate worlds. And, as Statham put it, if I have to manage someone's ego just to make a scene work, I'm out. Behind the explosions and billion-dollar box office runs, even the toughest action stars have their limits. Then came the name nobody expected, Steven Seagal. Statham rarely goes for the jugular in public, but something about Seagal broke through that calm. Because to Statham, action is sacred. It's built on real training, real sacrifice, and real respect for the craft. And Seagal, in his eyes, turned all of that into a performance with no substance behind it. He turned martial arts into pantomime, Statham said flatly. He walks around like he's the second coming of Bruce Lee, except Bruce Lee actually did the work. Every word landed with precision because Statham meant it. But his entire career was constructed on authentic technique and relentless preparation, while Seagal's legacy had long been buried under ego, exaggeration, and a trail of controversy. Seagal fired back in typical fashion, dismissive, grand, and wrapped in self-importance. Jason's a talented stuntman, he said, but he's not on my level. That response only proved Statham's point. No handshake, no truce, no repair. Just a cold, permanent silence between two men who represent completely opposite ideas of what it means to be a true action star. Next is Shia LaBeouf. And this one is different because it never exploded publicly. It started quietly with one unfinished project and two philosophies that could never coexist. According to Statham, the trouble began during early development talks for a film that never got made, when the studio loved the idea. He said, "I didn't. He wasn't right for the role." LaBeouf found out, and the message he sent back was, in Statham's words, far from professional. Statham didn't elaborate, and he didn't need to. LaBeouf's long public history of outbursts, extreme method choices, and volatile behavior filled in every blank. "Some people want to be tortured geniuses," Statham said. "I just want to get the job done without someone throwing a tantrum in their trailer." LaBeouf snapped back hard. Jason's just a mechanic who throws punches. That's not acting. The tension grew even more when rumors spread that Statham might enter the Transformers franchise just as LaBeouf was stepping away, with Statham's partner, Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, already a lead in the series. One insider said LaBeouf felt like Hollywood was trying to erase him overnight. What began as a small rejection became a permanent divide. Statham valued discipline and showing up ready. LaBeouf believed chaos was the engine of creativity. Neither respected the other's approach, and neither man ever backed down. Then there's Jared Leto, and if Statham has a breaking point, Leto found it fast. The tension sparked during early talks for a psychological thriller that never made it to production. Statham expected a standard creative meeting. Leto arrived already deep in character, refusing to shake hands, refusing to answer to his own name, demanding everyone address him by the role he planned to play. Statham was stunned. "Mate, we're in a coffee shop," he said later. "Drop the act." He walked away immediately and didn't soften his frustration when asked about method actors afterward. "There's dedication," he said, "and then there's being a complete nuisance. I'm not babysitting someone's fantasy." Leto responded in his usual cryptic style. "Some actors punch, some actors disappear into a role. If that frightens people, maybe they fear the truth." A subtle but clear jab, casting himself as the artist and Statham as the brute. The line between them is now permanent. Statham avoids any project with Leto attached. Leto treats the criticism as proof of his own artistic depth. No shouting matches, no tabloid drama, just a quiet and absolute divide between two men who will never share a set. Mark Wahlberg came next, and this one stretches all the way back to 2003 and The Italian Job. On screen, the heist looked effortless. On behind the scenes, it was anything but. Statham came in every day locked in, focused on stunt work and precision. Wahlberg arrived with a different energy entirely. Casual, distracted, keeping the crew waiting while he handled calls for his side businesses. "We're here to make a movie, not babysit a brand," Statham said. What frustrated him even more was the gap between Wahlberg's working-class public image and his very private billionaire lifestyle. "You can't sell blue-collar and live like that," Statham said. "Pick a lane." Wahlberg laughed it off publicly, but threw his own punch. "Jason's intense, maybe too intense. I like to have fun. At least I don't need stunt doubles to look tough." That line hit hard, and insiders say Statham never forgot it. Producers tried for years to pair them again, believing the tension would translate into box office gold. Both men declined every single time. They'd rather walk away from a massive paycheck than share a set again. Whatever chemistry the cameras suggested in 2003 disappeared the moment filming wrapped. And finally, Dwayne Johnson. This one is the most legendary of them all, because it didn't come from hate. It came from two men who simply refused to lose. From the moment they appeared on the same set, everyone felt it. Two forces occupying the same space with no intention of stepping aside. Behind the scenes of Furious 7, the situation became impossible to ignore. Both actors had contract clauses stating their characters could never be made to look inferior in a confrontation. What sounded like a minor detail became a full logistical nightmare for the stunt team. Every single hit had to be counted and balanced. Vin Diesel reportedly created a literal punch counting system just to keep the peace. Statham later joked about it. "It's not fighting, it's negotiating. One for you, one for me." Johnson put it plainly. It's not always easy when you have two alphas in the same room. Mutual respect existed, but the friction never stopped simmering. Statham felt Johnson leaned too heavily on size and spectacle. Johnson found Statham's intensity felt more like stubbornness. Neither man ever gave an inch. By the time Fate of the Furious was in production, Universal made a decision. They separated the two and built their own film around them, Hobbs and Shaw. Fans saw it as a reward. Insiders knew it was damage control. Keeping these two on the same set was simply no longer sustainable. Today, they maintain a professional truce built on mutual necessity and a grudging kind of respect. As one crew member said, they don't love each other, but they know they need each other. 6 names, 6 stories, each one pulling back the curtain on what really happens when the cameras aren't rolling and the strongest personalities in the world are forced to share the same space. Statham's world runs on discipline, precision, and respect. And when those things are missing, he makes it known. So, the question is, were his frustrations justified, or was this just the inevitable collision of massive personalities under enormous pressure? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more of the stories Hollywood tries to keep quiet, subscribe right now, because what's coming next is going to hit even harder than this one.